Good evening. It is my pleasure to introduce someone who inspires me, an attorney and politician who is the junior United States Senator from Virginia. Democrat Tim Kaine was elected to the Senate in 2012 and was the nominee for Vice President of the United States in the 2016 election. He is one of only 30 people in US history who has been elected a mayor, governor, and US senator. Tim Kaine has scored 100% on the HRC congressional scorecard. He's a great friend to our community. Please welcome Senator Tim Kaine.
Hey, thank you so much. Wow. Good evening. Please. Hello, HRC. Thank you so much. Please have a seat. Please. My wife, Ann, and I are here to say we love HRC. What you guys do is so important. It is so important. It was the great honor of our life to be together with Hillary Rodham Clinton on a history-making ticket. And Ann and I together on 105 days, we did 985 events in more than 40 states, and everywhere we went, we saw the power of HRC standing up for equality, the fundamental and first American value. So I will just begin by saying on behalf of my spectacular running mate, and every day's headlines demonstrate what a great president Hillary Clinton would have been, don't they? Let me just tell you one story. The election was so discouraging, so disappointing. 1 week later, I was back in the Senate introducing a bill about anti-Semitism, my first day back, and I was home for about 2 days in the Senate, and I got a letter from a little girl in Charlottesville, fourth grader, named Penelope. And I'm going to tell you what her letter said. Dear Senator Kaine, I really am sorry you didn't win, and you're not going to be vice president, but senator's still kind of important. Can you help stop my classmates from being deported? A fourth grader writing me worried about dreamers in her class that were likely or threatened with deportation under a President Trump. Second paragraph of the letter, this is what it was. I've done a drawing for you to give you some encouragement. And the drawing came out of the envelope in crayon. It was a drawing of a much younger, much thinner me with a lot more hair, with a cape on it with a T, and a motto that she had scrawled across the top, be the hero. Because she was so worried about her friends being deported, she was looking for a hero. The reason I'm here tonight is to tell you that HRC, you are heroes to an awful lot of people. 66 million people who voted. 66 million people who voted for Hillary Clinton and me are deeply disappointed. But there's a subset of the disappointed that are personally very, very afraid. They're afraid of being deported. They're afraid of us abandoning a commitment to science. They're afraid of rollbacks in women's health access. They're deeply afraid of rollbacks of our commitment to equality that we made huge progress on during the age of Obama because of the HRC. We've got a courageous youngster in Virginia, Gavin Grimm. Gavin Grimm, transgender high school student. The Obama administration stood up for Gavin Grimm and said, this is somebody who needs to be treated like a precious student and not be subject to bullying. And it's an evidence of how things change that the Trump administration pulled the plug on legal efforts in courts to protect Gavin Grimm and others. And that shows this proposition that there are folks out there these days who are afraid. But I'll tell you this, and I'm just going to conclude and say this. This is the moment, folks, that we're living in. 2017 is the 230th anniversary of the formation and approval of the Constitution in Philadelphia, September 1787. Forgive me for being Virginia-centric, but the main drafter was James Madison. And what James Madison did in this document was he took a lot of good ideas, and the people then were worried about some things too. And what they were worried about was an overreaching executive. Because in 1787, what the drafters of our Constitution understood, they understood overreaching executives. They were coming out of a world of monarchs and kings and emperors and sultans. And so what they did in the Constitution we have is they put checks and institutions in place to stop an executive from going wild. Article 1, Congress. It wasn't the president. Article 1 is Congress. Article 3, an independent court system. First Amendment, a free and vigorous press. First Amendment, the right of the people to peacefully assemble and petition their government for redress of grievances. That's what we're doing at women's marches, or when we turn out to airports, or when HRC has galas like this all over the United States. So I will tell you this, we are living in a stress test of our constitutional democracy. We have taken this thing in for the 230-year checkup to see whether the institutions that were put in place in 1787 still exist. And if Congress does, and the courts do, and the press does, and the citizens do, the roles that we were intended to do, this chapter will have an end, and the end of the chapter will be that our system was vindicated over any temporary occupant of any of the positions in this system. I am so proud to be here to say thank you to HRC for what you do, because you are being the hero every day to people all over this country who need somebody to have their back. The disappointed need to have the back of those who are afraid, and HRC is having the back of an awful lot of people. So tonight, we're just here to thank you. Keep being the hero. We will keep battling together, and this chapter will have a good end because of the work of people like you. Thanks so much.